Hi everyone, welcome. If you're new here, my name is Aileen, and here we talk about all things makeup, mostly luxury makeup, skincare, and fashion. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I hope you consider subscribing and joining the family. So today, we're gonna declutter brushes. If you're new here, I am in the middle of a move, and what better time to declutter than when you're moving? So let's get started. I already have in mind some that I know for sure I'm getting rid of. So let's get to it. In here, I doubt there's anything I'm gonna get rid of in here. These are a lot of my everyday go-to brushes. This is a Real Techniques 400. I love this brush for bronzing. Does have to be cleaned, but she's not going anywhere. This is my BK Beauty 104. I also love this for bronzing and for contour. I just love the tapered point on it. You can really just dip your brush in your contour, your powder contour, and really blend that out. This is an e.l.f. brush. This is the small tapered brush. I really love this blush for highlighter, and that is really all that I use it for. It's just my go-to brush for a highlighter because it has a little more density than maybe the Wayne Goss Artist brush. I can really buff that highlighter out just so it's not as stark, because I'm not a fan of a really stark highlight. This is a Tart brush. This is a really good brush for cream contour and blending out any cream contour. It's a nice synthetic brush, as are the others, but this one I really only use it for my cream contour, especially my Westmint Atelier Truffle. Once I place it, I will blend it out with this. It's really nice with the Chanel cream bronzer, all the cream bronzers. And the BK Beauty 101. This is an amazing foundation brush. It is synthetic. You can use it for foundation. Because of the angle and the shape, you can also use it to contour if you want very precise. If you need to get in like in those nose areas, when you're applying your foundation, it's soft. It leaves no streaking. One of my faves. This is a recent one, and I'm really enjoying this one. This is a Smashbox sheer foundation brush. I love the shape of this brush. You can really get into that under eye area and really sheer your foundation out, and it will not leave streaks. And I do have to give all of these a wash. This is a really old brush that I've had a very long time. I don't even remember where I purchased this. It says Lisbur, but I love this as a powder brush for an all over powder, setting powder. If I want a little more density than like my La Mer, it's just perfect. It'll provide a little bit of coverage because of the density, but still sheer it out so it doesn't look powdery. And my La Mer powder brush, I use this all the time for my translucent powder. If I apply too much blush and I really need something soft and airy that I can diffuse that out, I will try to use this brush or one of my Wayne Goss Artist brushes. And here we have the Refer 4. I use this for blush. I just used it yesterday, so it is here to be washed. And yeah, Refer brushes, if you're looking for natural haired, decently priced brushes, Refer is a great brand. Next, we have the Wayne Goss Artist brushes. These are natural hair brushes. They're soft. They are beautiful. I tend to use the small one to set the under eye, the medium for a soft highlight. If I'm using a very stark and bright highlight, since I don't like a bright highlight, I will go for one of those. And if I'm going to use a very pigmented blush, I will be reaching for the Wayne Goss Artist brush in the large. Love those brushes. And next here we have a Sigma large angled contour brush, and I use this for blush as well. Great brush. And this one's fairly new to me. It is a Refer 5. I will reach for this one when my other blush brushes are dirty. And they are all dirty. They all have to be washed. And this is the only lash curler I have and I love, and this is the Surratt lash curler. So those are my everyday brushes that have to be washed, and I will not be decluttering any of those. This is the Tart brush. It came out at the same time as the cream bronzer, the Seychelles. I love this brush. It is perfect for cream bronzer. It does have to be washed, but it's really, really good. This brush is a Tarte foundation brush. This came out originally with the original Tarte Amazonian clay. This is a great foundation brush. Washing it and having it dry and still keep its shape is a little difficult, but if you just hang it over the countertop, you shouldn't have an issue. And then I tend to rotate it. It does take a little longer to dry, but it is a great brush. So here's where we will be doing our decluttering. I try to keep it, most of these are the eye brushes, and then over here are brushes I really don't use as often, and anything else in between. So let's start over here. This was from a set I got a long time ago for my birthday, for Christmas. Somebody gifted it to me. It's a set from Amazon. I'm going to declutter this. I do not use this. I really enjoy like a spoolie such as this to go through my brows or even my lashes. So I'm not going to keep that. And this was just like a spoolie that a friend of mine gave me from her makeup kit when I had an emergency and needed one. So that can be decluttered. This is a Revlon foundation brush. I used to use these, never for foundation, but I used to use them for my skincare mask at night. But I have one already and it is like a silicone, so we can go ahead and declutter that. This was part of that same Amazon set, and it's a fan brush, but I don't like how big it is, how the bristles are just uneven. I never use this, so that can be decluttered. This will not be going anywhere. This is my Shantikai Buff and Blur brush that I use with my Shantikai Blur powder. Absolutely love it. This is the small one that came out with the Flower Power collection. Next is a Sigma large powder brush. I do use this at times. It's not as soft as, let's say, the La Mer, but it is more travel friendly, which is where I take my smaller brushes, is when I'm traveling. So we can keep her for now. Next is another foundation brush, and this came with that same Amazon brush set. This I have never used, so we can get rid of that. This is a dual fiber blender. I use this specifically for one product, but honestly, now that I have the Goss artist brushes, I don't feel I need this. I only kept this and would specifically use it for the Goss blush, the Vivid Azalea. And I don't feel I need this now that I have the Goss artist brushes, but it is the only one, the only dual fiber blender brush I have. So I'm not sure. We're going to set that one aside and decide. Next is a Real Techniques 200. I do love this for traveling, for my cream contour. This one's my favorite for the cream contour, but it is larger. So I will typically take this one with me if I'm traveling. Real Techniques has really great affordable brushes. If you're looking for synthetic affordable brushes, Real Techniques is definitely a great option. So we will keep her. This is another Lisbur brush. I believe this one came with that other Lisbur powder brush. And this is when I used to be more specific with contouring, which is really not something I do anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of her. Next is a small angled brush. This is the one I use for my brows. If I'm using a brow pomade of any sort, when I used to use the ABH brow pomade, this is what I used religiously. It's an angled eyeliner brush, and I don't even know the brand. It's been smudged off. It is older, but I do use it a lot. Next, we have a Sigma Foundation F60. Sigma does have great brushes. I don't use these. I'll probably set this aside and see if one of my daughters want them, but I will not be keeping this. And I'm pretty sure my daughters will raid everything I am decluttering. Next, this is an e.l.f. fan brush. I'm gonna go ahead and keep this one just because now that I'm getting rid of the larger fan brush, I don't own a fan brush and I don't wanna be left without one. So I'll go ahead and keep this one. e.l.f. brushes are not that great, but this pink line is one of their best that I have felt. It is pretty soft, airy, and it's not scratchy. Like when you can tell they've been laser cut and they're a little scratchy, this does not give that effect on the skin. It's pretty decent for such an affordable brush. And this was part of the same set. It is a Flawless Face Brush. I do keep more affordable brushes that I'm okay if something happens and things like that when I go on vacation. And these are really soft, and like I said, they're not scratchy. So I do keep these for travel. Smaller, cheaper is what I go for when I'm traveling, because if I lose it, I'm gonna be highly upset. So let's move on. This is a Lisbur brush. These must have been off of Amazon or something. I am not sure. It must have been a set. I am not a fan of these for makeup. I am a fan of these brushes for crafting, and I have quite a few that I use for crafting, so I will be decluttering this. I really never even use this. Next, I am not even sure what brand this is. It's old. I would say at least 20 years old. This is one of the sets that I travel with. So over here are my least used, but they're the ones I do travel with, where if it gets lost, I'm not going to throw a tantrum. So we'll go ahead and keep those, and all the ones that are in the travel section, I'm pretty sure will be packed and just not go with me for my everyday. Next is the Sigma contour brush. I do use this to blend out my nose contour if I nose contour, or if I do any thin specific contouring. It did come with a Smashbox palette that I bought that had like a highlighter, a contour, and a bronzer. It's a soft, nice brush. Smashbox does have great synthetic brushes as well. Next is my Tom Ford 04. This is perfect for the cream sculpt bronze of Tom Ford. This is perfect for placement. It evenly distributes. She will not be going anywhere. I love the craftsmanship of these brushes. And some say Japan and some don't. I'm not sure if that means some are synthetic and some are not. Not sure if you see it right here, but it says Japan. A498. Not sure what that means, what it stands for, but I bought this at the CCO at a heavily discounted price, and I am not upset. Okay, I decided I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. I don't use it. I don't need to keep it just because I don't have one. I will be just fine. Here are some Tart brushes that I do not use, but I will see if my daughters would use. So these either came with a palette or they came with a set. These are dual-ended. I'm not a fan of dual-ended brushes just because I don't like storing them that way. But this one is also Tarte. This one's more dense, kind of like the shape and density of the Westmint Atelier Baby Blender. And this is more like a lip brush. And this is like a blending shadow brush. And this is more like a compacted shadow brush, but I will be decluttering those as well. And here is another brush. I do travel with this one. This is the blush and highlight. So when I travel, I do take this one just so it's one less brush I have to take, but we will decide on that one. Next is this e.l.f. highlighter brush. It's pretty much the same as the black one that I use, but the bristles are longer, and I never reach for this one. We can go ahead and declutter this. I don't need 3 highlighter brushes when I don't wear a lot of highlighter. So this one can go. These are brushes that came in that same set that I bought about 20 years ago, where the names are worn off. I do use this one right here for foundation at times, or for powder, for setting or buffing powder. This one is really good for foundation as well. And this one I never use anymore. So this one can go. Next these are foundation brushes. At least that's what I use them for. This is the Precision Face Brush from Bare Minerals. This is a great brush. It is angled, so you have shorter bristles on this side, longer on this side. It is flat. It is a great brush to really buff in and just whatever you like to use them for. Brushes are so versatile and personal as far as what you use them for. This is another brush that belongs to that Tarte set. I'm sure I have probably never or have not used this in a very, very long time. So she can be decluttered. So let's move on to my eye brushes or smaller brushes. This is a new brush to me. This is the Shantikai lip brush. It came with my last purchase. I've never even used it, but she will not be going anywhere. My Refer brushes are my go-to for my eyes. This is the Refer 2. It's perfect. Refer has great smaller brushes that are just perfect for hooded eyes. Here's another one, the Refer 15. Another great brush for blending, for more precision. It's just because of the shape, it just really just lets you get in there and blend and place. Love it. Here is my Shantikai Shade and Sweep. These are clean. I do clean my brushes with Cinema Secrets after every use, my eye brushes, just because I don't want any infections or anything of the sort. But I love the Shade and Sweep. It's great with the luminescent eye shades. It really is great with any shadows. I use these with this one with the Westmint Atelier eye pods as well. I just love them. Continuing on with Refer, this is the Refer 12. This is a fairly new brush to me. I have yet to even use it, but I did pick this up in the recent concept store pop-up shop that they had, along with a few others. This is the Refer 1, which I will also be keeping. This is the Westmint Atelier Baby Blender, which is great. I love it. I love the density. Really helps you place shadows and be more precise. This is the Refer 3 Perfect Pencil Brush, inner corner, lower lash. It's just really great. Here's another one. Here's a Tom Ford pencil brush. You can see the difference in size there. The Refer is shorter as well as smaller for more detail work. The Tom Ford, this is the 14. It is more dense and a little larger, perfect for the lower lash line. I did pick that up at the CCO as well. This is the Refer 27. This is a great blending brush. You can really just place your shadows. If you want to soften any harsh lines, this is a great brush. Next is the my Tom Ford 03. This brush can either be a flat shadow brush or a concealer brush. I do use this one as a shadow brush. It's flat. You can really compact and place down some pigment, some shadow, and not have any issues. Next, here's another brush from that same set. I have never used this brush. This is a Dlx Shadow Brush. Dlx, I would guess that means deluxe, but I have hooded eyes, smaller lid space, so this is not a brush I ever reached for. So we can go ahead and declutter that one. This brush, I love this brush. This is an angled brush. I'm pretty sure it probably came with that same Amazon brush set. This is an angled flat brush, and this is what I use to carve out my brows. It is perfect. I dip into my concealer and I just carve out my brows after I've shaded them in, and it just gives a perfect crisp line. I also use this to clean up any shadow. This is just one brush I know I can never be without, and if it ever broke or whatever the case, I would need one with this angle for sure. Here's another one that came in that set. This is a Lash Fan. I have not used this, will not use it, don't need it. She can definitely go. And proceeding with Refer. Let's just pull out a few Refers here, because I will not be decluttering these. So this is the Refer 13. This is my favorite Refer brush for eyes. It's just perfect if you have hooded eyes. It's small enough, but still gives that perfect blend. It just fits like a glove. Then is the Refer 26, which is a pencil brush, perfect for the lower lash line. Then we have the Refer 28, which is a shorter flat shadow brush. And then the Refer 14. So the Refer 14 is a little more tapered than the Refer 13. And it's really great as well. Just, they're pretty much the same size, but different shape. Great brushes. Next is a lip brush. I do not use lip brushes. I don't tend to use any lip products where I have to dip my finger or use a brush, so we can declutter that. Next is my Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush. I use this for concealer. I love placing down, and this is the Real Techniques 300. I love placing a little Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter, some concealer, and then just tapping that into place and concealing with this brush. I just love this brush. I've never used it for anything else but under eye concealing. Here's another Revlon brush that's new to me. This is the 29. It is very small, very dense, perfect for liner. If you want to use a shadow or anything in the waterline, this is a great small brush. I have yet to use it. It's one of my newer ones, but she's not going anywhere. Next is my Tom Ford 16. I really love this brush to smudge out any liner. If I place liner right above my lashes and really want to smudge it out, I love using this brush to do that. And I did also purchase this one at the CCO. This is a Sisley brush that came with the Sisley concealer. I feel it's too small for a concealer brush, but I have tried it. I just wasn't a fan of how long it took to really get that concealed look where everything looks skin-like with such a small brush. I felt like it really took too much time, but I have used this as a shadow brush and really enjoyed it, so I'll keep her. This is a mini camouflage brush. This is the brush that I use when I'm going to use any glitter glue, because it is synthetic. It's a cheaper brush. I don't have to try to scrape all the glue off because it's not a brush I use for anything else. Like, I've brushed it, I've washed it, but it still looks kind of, I don't know, it feels waxy. I'll have to give it another wash, but this came with that Amazon gift set, Amazon brush set as well. This is a Tart brush. Tart brushes are absolutely beautiful with shadows, with placement. If you haven't tried Tart brushes, see which one interests you and give it a shot. And I promise you will love it. This is the Revlon 24. This one's new to me as well. I don't believe I've used this one just yet, but she is new to my collection and she is staying. Next is, this is part of that Amazon set again. This is an angled brow brush. I will not be keeping this. I have a few small angled brushes and I really don't use them very often that I feel I need to keep another one. So we can go ahead and declutter her. Next, this is a Luxie 201. This is just a spoolie. Instead of using, like I said, a lash brush or anything of the sort, I really just enjoy running a spoolie through my lashes and before and after applying my mascara to ensure that they're not clumping together. And it's really good on the lower lashes as well to just separate that and clean up any clumping. Let's see what else we have here. This is a detail liner brush. I'm going to keep it even though I've never used it, because I know one time I was talking to a Feisty and we were working on a challenge and she was like, I just wish I had a brush like that. And I was like, oh, I have one. I've never used it. So I'm just going to keep it in the event I ever need to do something that detailed, but I've never really used this brush. Next, these are crown brushes. These are really good synthetic brushes. This is a good pencil brush, good density. I'm going to go ahead and keep these. I did get this set in a BoxyCharm box. I no longer have a subscription, but this is one of the sets that I got, as well as the Luxie. So these are the other brushes that came in that set, in the crown set. It was a crown eye set, so this is more of a flat shadow brush, but it has the flexibility of a blending brush such as this one that's more round. I love this more dense one for placement, outer V, working a shade into the crease, and this one for more detailed flat work. So those are the crown brushes, and I will be keeping those. This is a Chisel Fluff brush. I have never used this. I'm not even going to say I ever will, and she can definitely be decluttered. Next are my BK Beauty 202 and 201 brushes. I'm sure we are all familiar with. These are nice. If you're looking to pack on pigment, these are so soft. I wouldn't say they're the best to pack it on, but they're definitely great to blend it out. And if you're using highly pigmented shadows and you don't want like a stark pigment, then these are perfect. They are soft. They're absolutely beautiful. You can't go wrong with BK Beauty. But I am selective on with what shadows or when I use them. As anything else. This is another Ciroc brush. This is my favorite one. This one's more tapered. It's kind of angled where the bristles are shorter on one end and slightly get longer. Really love this brush. She's definitely not going anywhere, but again, if you haven't tried a Ciroc brush, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Here we go, another one from the set. This is called a Crease brush. I have enough of these. This one can definitely go. These Luxie brushes, I really like these Luxie brushes for synthetic brushes. My favorite is this soft blending brush and this angled shadow brush. This angle of this brush is absolutely amazing for the outer V. I just love it. And this is the Luxie 205, the Luxie 209, the Luxie 237, and the Luxie 207. The 207 is definitely my favorite, and I am keeping these. Next is a Chisel Blender. Never used it, never will. Not much to say there. It looks like all of these are from that same Amazon set. That was a big set. So out of these, the only one I use is this one here, and I use this to spot conceal and really just dig into my concealer pod and apply the spot concealer and blend it out. So I will keep that, but I do not use any of these other ones. This is a mini smudger, an angled liner brush, a blending fluff brush, and a square camo. I don't use any of these, and these could go as well. This is a Real Techniques 402 brush. This is a great brush. Like I said, Real Techniques has great affordable brushes. When I apply a shade all over and I want a one and done, and I'm just trying to blend all that in, and this is the perfect brush. It's big. You can cover a large surface area with one sweep, but it's yet tapered and fluffy enough for you to just blend any harsh edges. It's perfect. And this is my BK Beauty 207 Perfect Lower Lash brush. Love this brush. She's not going anywhere either. And this is just an Urban Decay brush that came with the Naked Cherry. I will hold on to this because when I decide to get rid of Naked Cherry, by the time we get there, if this one's gonna go, if that palette's gonna go, this will go in it. But that's it, you guys. That is my brush declutter. Let me put them back and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. I didn't come back to this one. I didn't even think about it, and I just looked at it and said, okay, she can go. So she will be decluttered. So that is what I'm going to stay with. I'm happy with that. Remember, I also like using the little sponge applicators that come in palettes, such as the ones in the Dior Quince or the ones in the Chanel Quads. But that is what I am keeping. And this is what we are decluttering. And I am hoping that my daughters, one of them will find some use in them. One of my daughters does a lot of artistic makeup, so maybe more of the synthetic ones can go to her. But thank you all so much for coming, and until next time, don't forget, we're all perfectly imperfect. Bye.